Rain, wind and rain. Chicago. A heavy storm thunders over the streets, pounding a small Roman Catholic church in a poor section of the city. Inside, a 39-year-old priest, Father Don Marchand, is sitting in a confessional booth waiting for people in need of forgiveness. He is the junior priest in this little church. With the storm, he's not certain that anyone will show up. After all, who needs forgiveness in bad weather? Out in the rain, a man runs up the steps and into the building. Suddenly, the door to the confessional is jerked open, and someone flops down inside. Through the screen, he can see an expensively dressed, powerful-looking businessman in his early 60s, and he's soaking wet. For a moment, he is silent. Then Father Don hears sobbing. The man is crying as though from a broken heart. Struggling to speak, he says that he has been looking back at his life and all he sees is evil and destruction caused by the things he has done. Father Don assures him that God will forgive every sin if we confess them and repent, asking Jesus to forgive us. That's why Jesus came, to pay the penalty for our sins no matter what they are. The sobbing stops. Quietly, the businessman responds, "Yes, Father, I know that. But the truth must be told. Everything depends on it." Then he begins. "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. This is my first confession in a church." What follows is the most disturbing confession that Father Don has ever heard. It's a terrifying litany of evil, including murders, all committed by the man himself or by people he paid to do it. And he says that every single one was a sacrifice of worship to the God of this world. Father Don is overwhelmed. Either the man is insane, possessed by delusions, or possessed by something far worse. Abruptly, the confession ends with the words, "That's all I can tell you. The rest you will learn on your own. I'm leaving something for you, Father, because God told me to. Pray for me and for yourself. You are a brave man, Captain Marchand." Father Don freezes. "Captain? What is going on here?" Before he can say anything, the man cries out, "I can feel them! They're coming!" Then he rushes from the confessional and out of the church. Father Don stares through the screen at the empty booth. Moments later, he hears a burst of machine gun fire. Running out of the building, he finds the businessman lying on the front steps, shot multiple times and dying. The black Mercedes speeds away. Looking up at the priest, the man whispers, "Jesus does forgive, Father. Praise God. He forgives everything." With a strange peace in his eyes, the man is gone. Then comes chaos. The police and their investigation. What was this person doing here? What did he say? Of course, Father Don can't reveal anything from the confessional. After the police leave and the body has been removed, he heads back into the church. He is in shock. Going to the confessional, he opens the door. On the bench where the man was sitting is an envelope. Slowly he opens it. Into his hand falls an ornate key and a small card. Written on one side are the words, "Heaven's Lovely Queen." And on the other, a name, Elias Vanderpoy. Father Don doesn't know what to do. He goes to Father William, the old priest who leads the church. He can't reveal what was said in the confessional, but what should he do about the envelope? Should he take it to the police, or is it covered by the rules of confession? All Father William tells him is that he should pray and ask God for guidance. Strangely, that evening, not a word about the murder appears in the Chicago press. A murder on the steps of a church should make headlines, but nothing. That night alone, he kneels at the altar and prays desperately, asking God what he should do. What does all of this mean? How could a stranger have known his name, and how could he have known that once he was a captain? Was what he said the ramblings of a lunatic or a warning? Father Don has not felt such danger in years, but he has felt it before, far away. As he prays, no answer comes. The next day, he decides to take the envelope to the police. But at the station, things get really weird. They have no record of the crime. It's as though the murder never happened. He argues that he was there, he saw it, and the police were there. But it does no good. Finally, shocked and amazed, he walks out of the station with the envelope in his hand. Then he sits in his car staring at nothing. This was a professional hit. There has to be a reason why there is no record of it. Father Don doesn't get much done the rest of the day. He feels haunted. Over and over he hears the burst of machine gun fire, and that brings back dark memories that he has tried to forget. That night in his room, he lies in bed unable to sleep. Finally, exhausted, he does sleep. But with it comes a nightmare. Once again, he is seated in the confessional, but this time staring at him through the screen is a face from hell. The eyes burned with fire, and the lower half is a skull. The image wears the robes of a Roman Catholic cardinal. Yelling, he tries to open the booth, but the door won't open. He bangs on it. Then from the face an eerie voice whispers, "Wherever you go, Captain, I am with you." With a yell, Marchand jerks awake. He's covered with sweat. But as he sits in bed, a strange, tough look comes into his eyes. A look that hasn't been there in years. On the table next to him is the envelope. Pulling out the card, he stares at it. Heaven's lovely queen. Suddenly, he understands. The next morning, heavy fog drifts in the air as Father Don drives through the entrance to the Queen of Heaven's Cemetery in Westchester. Stopping on a small road with graves on either side, he gets out and walks among them. Coming to a grave with a large stone, tears fill his eyes. His wife is buried here. He entered the priesthood after she died. Before that, he had been an army captain in command of a ranger company. He had been deployed for a month in Afghanistan, his second tour, when she had been killed in a car wreck. Ever since, he has blamed himself for not being with her. Her picture and name are on the stone. Elise Ann Marchand was a lovely woman. His name and birth date are next to hers, Captain Donald Edward Marchand, born January 15, 1986. There's no death date for him, but something died within him when he buried her. As he looks at her face, suddenly her voice whispers, "You are still a warrior, my love. Be strong." Then his tears really fall. A short time later, Marchand drives through the cemetery to the mausoleum. Entering the building, he goes to a table and pages through a large book that lists all the burials that have taken place here. He finds the name, Elias Vanderpoy, born 1890, died 1972. The man is buried in a crypt in this building. Going to the vault, he stares at the door. What should he do? Disturbing the remains would be sacrilegious, but he has to know what all of this is about. Taking out the key, he inserts it and pulls open the door. There are no remains in the vault, only a black suitcase. Dragging it out, he opens it. In one side is an old leather notebook with thick, yellowed pages. Strange symbols are on the cover, the Greek symbols for Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. With it is a computer tablet. Opening the notebook, he is blown away. In the front are two pictures of him. In one, he is a priest, and in the other, he wears the uniform of a U.S. Army infantry captain. On that picture are the words, Captain Donald Marchand, B Company, 77th Ranger Battalion, Silver Star, Valor. Father Don stares in disbelief. He opens the other half of the suitcase. It's filled with cash and gold coins. Suddenly he hears people entering the building. Closing the case, he locks the vault and hurries from the mausoleum. Shoving the case into his car, he drives away. When Father Don pulls onto the street of the church, what is this? He's stopped by emergency vehicles. In front of him, the street is filled with fire trucks, police cars, and an ambulance. The entire church, including the priest's quarters, is engulfed in flames. And a body is being removed. He rushes over to it. It's Father William. Then he sees. Half a block away, the black Mercedes drives off. Marchand stares at the burning buildings. The few things he owns are gone. All he can think to do is to go to the headquarters of the Chicago Archdiocese. He has a priest friend who works there. A short time later, he enters the Roman Catholic headquarters. Someone new was at the desk. He asked for his friend. But another shock. He's told that no one by that name works here. But he was just with him last week in his office in this building. The response? No one by that name has ever worked here. Marchand rushes to his friend's office, but finds it occupied by a total stranger. Security arrives and he is escorted back to the entrance desk. There he gets the greatest shock of all. They have checked. There is no record of him as a priest in the entire Chicago diocese. The man behind the desk demands to know why he is dressed like a priest since he isn't one. That is illegal, and they've called the police. Stunned and enraged, Father Don rushes from the building. Parked across the street is the black Mercedes, and the driver is a priest. Marchand rushes toward the car, but before he can get there, it speeds away. Now he knows only one thing to do. He calls an old friend, Steve Zagros, who is a Chicago police officer. They served together in Afghanistan.
Hello.
Reluctantly, his friend agrees to meet him, but it has to be entirely clandestine. Make sure he isn't followed. Weird things are happening. Several hours later, they meet under a railroad bridge in a deserted section of the city. Zagros is not in his police car and isn't wearing his uniform. He is very nervous, which isn't like him at all. He tells Marchand that strange people have been asking about his priest friend, and they have access at the highest levels of the department. He has been warned not to have contact with him and to remain silent. Zagros knows nothing about the murder at the church. He tells Marchand to get a new identity and get out of Chicago immediately. And whatever you do, don't dress like a priest. Get rid of your car and stop using your cell phone. Zagros takes it from him and smashes it, then gives him a burner. Along with it, he hands him the name of a man who can create new identity documents. And one other thing. Zagros pulls out a Glock 26 pistol and a concealed carry holster and a box of ammunition. He says the gun is untraceable. Marchand doesn't want it. He gave up all of that when he entered the priesthood. His friend responds with a sardonic laugh. Everything old is new again. Take it, you're going to need it. Reluctantly, Marchand takes the gun. Zagreus says he can do nothing more, and from here on out, no further contact. He has a family. They hug, and he drives away. That night, in a cheap motel, Marchand stares at his new identity. He is now Andrew Cashin, a traveling rug salesman. He turns on the tablet. The murdered businessman's face appears. What Marchand hears is amazing. His name is Marcus Vanderpoy. He is the scion of the most ancient and richest family in all of Europe, a lineage that goes back in wealth and power for 2,000 years. Until now, they have managed to remain totally secret, even as they exerted dark control at the highest levels of international government and the church. Their family tree is in the notebook. But most stunning of all, Marchand learns that he is a maternal descendant of the Vanderpoys through his great-great-grandmother, who was kicked out of the family because she had a child out of wedlock by a commoner. She was erased from existence and never had any contact with him again. Coming to America, she and her husband settled in Chicago, where they led normal lives. Why was Marcus Vanderpoy murdered? He knew he was going to be killed, but he was willing to give up his life because he had gone through a spiritual awakening that transformed him and made him the enemy of his own family. He knew all their secrets. He says the terrible days are coming to the earth. Ancient powers of great darkness have been unleashed. These are the days of the end. Millions will die, but many can be saved if secrets of the apocalypse are revealed and the weapons of evil power are discovered and destroyed. Marcus can't do it. He's suffering from terminal cancer. So he searched for a warrior, a light bearer, and found Marchand, an army ranger who is now a priest, a man of God who has experienced both great danger and great sorrow. Vanderpoy tells him that a broken heart is vital for this work. Without it, he will become just like the enemy. The ultimate quest of his life must begin. The path of discovery has been laid out for him. It will take him around the world into great danger, but he is not to fear because God will be with him. Vanderpoy has done all that he can, and there the video ends. That night, Marchand has another terrifying dream. In it, he is walking through the streets of Chicago, but they are empty, and the only light is from the moon. All around him tower the hulks of a dead city. The skyscrapers are broken, and all the buildings have been burned. From the darkness, 10,000 voices are sobbing. In front of him are the ruins of his church. Slowly he goes inside. The ceiling is gone and everything is destroyed. But then a golden light appears. Hanging in the air above the charred remains of the altar is the most beautiful crucifix he has ever seen, one that never hung in this church. Suddenly a shining figure appears standing beneath it. It's a boy of 10 years old. Quietly he speaks. "Hi, Father Captain Marchand. Look up." Marchand looks where he is pointing. Above the church, the sky is filled with fiery clouds. Out of them streak huge black birds of prey with bloody claws and burning eyes. The boy says to him, "It's time for war, but the worst fight won't be against people. It will be against the powers of darkness above and below." The boy picks up a small burned crucifix from the floor and hands it to Marchand. "You'll need this." Marchand stares at it, then at him. "Who are you? What's your name?" The boy answers, "I have no name. My father hasn't named me yet." "Why not?" "Because my body died inside my mother. She had just found out that I was there." Marchand can barely speak. "What was your mother's name?" "Her name is Elise," Marchand whispers. "You are my son?" The boy smiles and nods. "Her body died before she could tell you about me. But Father, it's time to wake up. Leave where you were sleeping right now. They're coming. They've planted something under your car." Instantly, Marchand jerks awake. He is in the motel room. As he wipes away tears, there is a burned crucifix in his hand. Grabbing the suitcase, he heads to his car. Looking underneath it, he finds the tracker. At that moment, a garbage truck drives onto the street. Metal arms extend to pick up a dumpster. Marchand runs to it and drops the tracker inside. Driving out of the parking lot, he stops on a street and watches. Suddenly, two black Mercedes speed toward the truck and start following it. With a grim look, Marchand drives away. Early morning, he has been sleeping in his car. The sounds of the city wake him. Across the street is a used RV sales lot. Getting out, he walks toward it. An hour later, he is driving a very plain-looking RV out of the city. Father Don is on the road, passing through the farmlands of Illinois, when he sees an old man hitchhiking who looks bedraggled and homeless. The priest in him pulls over and opens the RV door. Thanking him profusely, the man climbs inside. As they drive on, Don asks him where he is heading. The man replies, "Oh, wherever I'm directed, here one day, somewhere else the next." There is a strange power in the crusty voice. Directed? Suddenly Marchand is concerned. "How do you get your directions?" "Oh, they come from headquarters." "Where is that?" "Kind of, well, all over." At that moment, they pass a Jack-in-the-Box. Seeing it, the man gets very excited. Look, a Jack-in-the-Box. Would you mind if we stop there? I love their rotten gut tacos, and it's been forever since I've had one." Laughing, Father Don heads to the drive-thru. At the order kiosk, he asks the man how many tacos he can eat. He answers, "Well, how many can you eat?" "I don't know, maybe 4. "So, how about 20 for me?" Don stares at him. "You can eat 20 tacos? It's been a long time, and I don't know when I'm going to get another chance." "Okay, so 24 tacos it is." The bag is handed through the window, and they pull into a parking space to eat. The man gobbles the greasy things like he is starving. "I guess you really do like them." With his mouth full, he mumbles, "Love 'em. Meat's so soft and greasy. You don't get that where I come from." "I'm not really sure it's meat." "Oh, whatever." Suddenly the man stops eating. "Where you need to go next is Cahokia Mound's nasty place." Father Don stares at him. "Some fools think it's a portal. Truth is, it's an archaeological anus. It's going to be a long journey for you, Padre. Straight into plug-ugly filth, and that's never fun. But don't be afraid of nothing. This is the end of the end, and you get to be a servant warrior setting prisoners free. You don't know what that means, but you'll find out." Father Don is stunned. Before he can say anything, the man reaches into his pocket. "Hey, almost forgot." He pulls out a small rock and hands it to him. "You've been so kind to me, I got something for you." Father Don stares at the rock. see the whole world and everything in it from rocks to rain is really singing. You just can't hear it. But this rock comes straight from the garden of God. If you get afraid or feel down low, just hold it to your heart and it'll sing to you. Lifting the bag of tacos, the man smiles and says, "Thank you so much for this. They won't go to waste. I got friends." Then he vanishes. Shaking, Father Don stares at the rock. Suddenly remembers the words in the book of Hebrews chapter 13, "Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for by this some have entertained angels without knowing it." Lifting the rock, he puts it against his heart. Instantly, he hears the most beautiful singing of his entire life. He's caught up in such breathtaking rapture till he can hardly stand it. Pushing the stone away, the singing vanishes. He stares at it. A rock from paradise? The garden of God? Cahokia Mound State Historic Site in southern Illinois. That night, Father Don parks his RV near the entrance. Thousands of years ago, Cahokia was the most important city in North America, with 15,000 residents. The huge mound at the center is larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Not knowing what to expect or why he is even there, he crawls into bed and goes to sleep. In the middle of the night, he enters a lucid dream. Huge drums pound as thousands of voices chant in an unknown language. Getting out of his RV, he finds himself at the foot of what was the huge mound. But now it is a monstrous temple with a flat area at the top. All around him are thousands of ancient people chanting as they stare at the pinnacle. Strange shafts of light hang down from the darkness above it. Father Don begins climbing the long staircase. Every step is a labor. When he reaches the top, before him are 9 shafts of light. In each hangs an alien form. All have silvery bodies, but their heads are horrifying beasts. Alien eyes stare at him. In the center of the circle is an ornate stone altar. Standing over it with a knife raised is a majestic priestess in a golden robe. Bound on the altar is a little girl. The drumming and chanting grow louder. The 9 beings in the shafts of light begin to sing, and their voices shake the earth with terror. The knife is about to descend. The little girl shrieks. Father Don can't stand it. Pulling out the little crucifix, he holds it up and shouts, "Stop, in the name of Jesus the King!" In his hand, the crucifix rises taller and taller, and from it streaks crimson fire. Then, overwhelming the dark voices, is heard the singing of heaven. Instantly, the drumming, chanting, and evil singing are choked into silence. The crimson fire from the cross burns the 9 alien forms to ashes. The knife drops harmlessly from the priestess's hand. As she turns and looks at Father Don, he is stunned. She is the most beautiful woman he has ever seen, with vulnerable eyes of softness that make him weak. Slowly she smiles. He jerks awake. He is in the RV, and the little crucifix is in his hand. Rain, wind and rain. Inside a church, candles are burning everywhere. Strange light illuminates the tall window at the front. Instead of religious figures, in it are stained glass images of terror. In this church there is no altar or crucifix. Where an altar should have been stands a golden throne. Seated in it, in her robe, is the beautiful woman from the Cahokia Mound. Her soft eyes are filled with hunger and longing. In her hand is the knife. Around her throne stand 9 figures in crimson robes with hoods that hide their faces. At the foot of the stairs in front of her lies the rotting body of the businessman Marcus Vanderpoy. Slowly the woman lays down the knife, then reaches into her robe and pulls out a cell phone. Touching a key, she puts it to her ear.
Welcome to Sanctum of Shadows, the secret war at World's End. I'm Coleman Luck III, co-creator of Sanctum of Shadows and one of the executive producers. I hope you've enjoyed what you've just seen. We believe it is one of the most unusual concepts for a television series that has ever been created, and it will play out in unexpected ways. Let me tell you something very odd. We have written and produced many stories and scripts. Where does the concept for a script originate? Obviously, from the imagination of the storyteller. But none has ever come to us the way this one did. This story came to my father in a dream. Starting with that inspiration, so begins one of the most extraordinary television series that will ever be produced. Guided by the old notebook, strange angels, and supernatural signs, the journey of Father Don's life will take him into danger and horror as he uncovers terrifying secrets. He will find himself caught up in the heart of a cosmic conspiracy that goes back to when time began. In each episode, he will be led to people whose lives are enslaved or oppressed by physical or supernatural forces. As a servant warrior of heaven, it is his assignment to set them free. In each battle, he learns more about the invisible conspiracy that controls governments, cultures, churches, and the lives of the people of the world. That invisible conspiracy is preparing for the final battle at the end of days. He will discover that one of their leaders is the beautiful woman of Cahokia Mound. As Father Don becomes an increasing thorn in the side of her family, her assignment is to destroy his soul. But Father Don is not alone in this war. At times of greatest need and danger, the most unlikely help appears in unpredictable forms. And always, above it all, is the King of Kings. So a question for you. Does Sanctum of Shadows sound like a series that should reach the screens of the world? As Hollywood crumbles and social media takes over, isn't it time for something radically different than either of those options? We are experienced writers, producers, showrunners, and series creators from Hollywood. You can find our credits on imdb.com. One series that my father created, entitled Gabriel's Fire and starring James Earl Jones, won 3 Emmys. We intend for Sanctum of Shadows to be the first dramatic television series produced by a new organization of creative people. We call ourselves Thorn Crown Studios. Right now, we are a small but growing YouTube channel. But we can't make this show or others like it by ourselves. To take Sanctum beyond this presentation, we need your support. Financial, yes, but also spiritual and creative. What you have just watched, which is only 30 minutes long, took about 6 months for us to write and produce. Why did it take so long? We have a very, very small team with extremely limited resources. All writing, music, editing, and sound design was handcrafted by our small team. While we used AI to generate base imagery, we spent a ton of time crafting those visuals and editing them into a coherent whole. None of the writing, music, video editing, or sound editing was done or generated by AI. Our team did all of that. The visuals do come from AI, but they were not easy to accomplish. There are impressive AI videos on YouTube that took only a short time to create, but most of them are only a few minutes long and very few tell character-driven stories. At best, there are hints of stories which you never see. This is because doing that with AI is very difficult and incredibly time-consuming. The ability to tell a gripping story filled with emotion that holds attention over many episodes and seasons in a television series is very rare, even when done in the traditional manner. Doing it with AI video and AI-generated characters is extremely challenging. When we recorded this segment, there were creators just starting to make character-driven short films, showing where AI can take filmmaking. By the time this reaches your screen, we expect more filmmakers will have pushed the boundaries further. Since we started the production of this presentation, AI has advanced in remarkable ways. From the time of this recording to when this airs, I'm sure even more advancements will be announced. It seems like new tools and incredible leaps of technology are happening every day. But AI isn't getting cheaper or much faster. With every advancement, it seems to cost more and more. That said, there are many ways to produce Sanctum of Shadows, The Secret War at World's End. Our first goal, and our first love, is working with the talented people that know how to make Hollywood productions. Artists, actors, editors, producers, directors, the works. We know the people of Hollywood well, and having talented people pooling their gifts to create something is one of the true joys of working in Hollywood. There is really nothing like the artistic collaboration found in a movie or TV series production. Having a production designer create incredible sets, a cinematographer craft a distinct look, and actors bring characters to life in unexpected ways is truly what turns great stories into seminal TV shows. We would love to find partners or sponsors to help us create a full Hollywood-style production with a real team from writers to grips. We have done that many times, and we believe that it is possible here. There are other ways, but all of them call for various levels of financial investment which are currently beyond our reach. We could take the series forward as a graphic novel. With the right partners, that could be a lot of fun. And then there is AI. Using AI to do a full series, which we believe is just beginning to be possible by pushing the available tools to their absolute limit, releasing episodes on a weekly or bi-weekly basis will demand technical skills and tools as well as professional staffing levels that we just don't have. While this would be significantly less expensive than a real production, it would present unique challenges for writing and require a highly skilled and expensive creative and post-production team. If that is the route we end up taking, let me assure you, the writing, voice acting, music, editing, and post-production for Sanctum of Shadows will never be relegated to AI. We will do it ourselves, and with your help, hire as many of the best people as we can to create this work. We strongly believe the human element is essential when creating compelling stories. And this is where you come in. If you enjoyed what you saw and believe in what we are doing, the first and best way to help is by liking this video, leaving a comment, and most importantly, sharing what you have just seen with as many people as possible. We have no marketing budget. Your word-of-mouth support for Sanctum of Shadows is our only hope. Also, if you would like to join us on a financial level, helping to launch Thorn Crown Studios as a production company so that we might be able to produce Sanctum of Shadows and other shows and movies, we are offering that opportunity. We have created campaigns on Indiegogo and Give, Send, Go, which are linked in the description of this video. We also have a Patreon page for Thorn Crown Studios if you want to become a long-term regular supporter of our efforts and ongoing shows, which we hope will eventually include Sanctum of Shadows. We can't do it without you. Whether you give financially or simply share this video, you are helping us to create new stories to entertain and impact the world. We've also created other shows at Thorn Crown Studios, which will continue to be in active production with your help. We hope you will check them out. We have the Hollywood Bible Study, taught by my father on the CBS studio lot. We have The Way of the Servant Warrior, written and presented by my father, about a means to living triumphantly as a follower of Jesus Christ the King in this discouraging world. And we have our flagship show, Patterns of Supernatural Phenomena, a non-fiction series where my dad and I examine the supernatural from a unique perspective. There are 2 seasons of Patterns up already, and we are currently working on Season 3. Many of the strange things we cover in Patterns of Supernatural Phenomena will show up in Sanctum of Shadows. So if what you saw resonated, don't let it end here. Like, comment, share, and if you feel led, support us through Patreon, Indiegogo, or Give, Send, Go. Links are available in the description of this video and on our website, thorncrownstudios.com. Join us in the great supernatural story war at the end of days.